we don't lose time. Because as I pointed out, these construction drawings and everything, we have tried to stay, and we have stayed within the envelope of the building that we designed, that we met with staff on back in November, so that we didn't have to go back and start the design process over. And that's why all of the iterations that you've seen to date with modified seating plans have all been done inside the envelope of the building that was originally designed. In Mahoning Valley, in Austintown, it's, as Darren just mentioned, it's a relatively easy approval process if we were to modify the building plan. The same is not true in Dayton, just so you understand. What they've approved is the footprint of that building because it's an environmental remediation site. Any modification of that footprint.
We're on Austintown.
I understand. I just don't want to.
One at a time.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. So let's move into the facility plan, because we'll talk about the overall site plan, and that buffer that he mentioned is along this south side. So this is page 1 of the packet of information that you have in front of you. And this is again the buffer between the community to the south and the racetrack. On the site plan itself, you've got a mile oval racetrack. You've got the integrated racing and gaming facility. You've got the paddock. This is very similar to what you've just seen in the video in Penn National in terms of how it is laid out, with the integrated facility, with the paddock just in this particular case to the north of that facility. You've got the shipping and receiving barn, the ship-in barn, and then you've got the backside areas. So what you have in front of you on the backside, the grade-in barns, of which there are 12, are those that we have funding for in our budget for our opening plan. The white ones, to bring the total to 22, are those that we're in discussion with the HPPA on whether or not they're cheaper alternative funding sources, alternative construction sources, excuse me, to build these barns.
So who's your general contractor?
Right now, we've been working with Turner Construction as a construction consultant, and are in the process of refining certain bids: steel, mechanical, electrical.
The number of barns that you have, stalls that you have proposed is how many?
What we have in our budget is 12 at 44 for a total of
just under 500.
500.
Okay, and what are you talking to the
We're
Horsemen's Association?
We're talking to Mr. Brasler and the HBKA about funding an entire 22 barn facility for the opening plan.
And that gets us to what? How many stalls?
Right about 1,000.
1,000, right about 1,000.
And what did you say you had over at Penn Gaming? How many stalls?
Yeah, we didn't mention that.
Penn National has about just under 1,100. It's about 1,080. On that.
Okay.
In addition, it's been pointed out that the regulations require dormitory space, which we've outlined in gray on the map that you have, the site plan that you have in front of you. So to accommodate the first one, this building with the D location would be the first dormitory. If we build the full complement of 22 barns, or when we build the full complement of 22 barns, there'd be room to twin that dormitory facility to accommodate those extra requirements.
Will the additional barns, will that be in writing, set in stone?
We're trying to do that by contract with the Horsemen's Association, with the HPPA, because quite frankly, they are finding less expensive construction sources than we are finding with the contractors with whom we've spoken. So what we're trying to do is see if our budget for the 12 barns could fund the 22 barns through the HPPA's sources.
What would your budget be for all the barns?
It's $6.7 million, 6.8. It's almost $7 million.
Almost 7 million for the initial, for the 500, or for the total?
It's for all of the site work and the initial 500, the initial 12.
Okay.
So that,
And within that budget, you think you could build 500, and they seem to think that you could build something more than that for the same?
our construction guys are saying it's about $620,000 a barn, and we've met frequently with Dave and folks from the HPPA, and they think they can build them for about $330,000, $340,000 a barn, somewhere in that range.
in that range.
Yeah, I think it was 330 to 350, I apologize. But that's giving you an order of magnitude difference of what we're getting from a construction group whose expertise is in building an entertainment facility, and a construction group from the Horsemen's Associations whose expertise is in building barns.
The barns will be constructed of what block?
There'll be a wood pole barn. Again, the template we're looking at is similar to what we constructed at Penn National.
Okay.
Winterized, totally enclosed, approximately 46 stalls, indoor wash stalls. I believe there's a couple tack rooms, 2 to 4 tack rooms in each one. Feed sheds next to the structures as well.
You look perplexed, Mr. Chairman. Is there a question I can answer?
I'm still working on my brackets.
Time's running out. The preliminary games is tonight, right?
There's a couple last playing games.
So that's the site plan. If there are no further questions, and I apologize for keep turning.
I just have one question about
Sure.
the dorms. How many roughly would they house?
Again, we're
The
going
one
off,
barn that you-
we're going off the ratio of, whatever the requirement is. So I guess that would be for the first phase, maybe 50 or 60, I guess.
So we've recognized that requirement.
Yeah, Scott is telling me it's 90 in this first dorm, and like I said, the second would be almost its twin. So that's the site plan. This is an elevation which you've seen, Mr. Chairman, going back to November. And now we can get into the inside of the building and start addressing, yes?
Don't mean to interrupt you, could we just talk about the track for a second?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
We were kind of remiss on that. Mile track,
Correct.
Coon Brothers,
Correct.
okay, and,
No turf track.
No.
No. Give us summer racing.
Turf racing in January.
I understand, I just wanted folks to understand that. That was a softball. Recognize a softball when when somebody flips it up
Yeah.
to you.
Say thank you,
just-
Chris.
just-
Say
just-
thank you.
and you're working with the HPBA on the track as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And just for some perspective, just some minutia. We are Coons are doing it. We went over last time their experience. Not only I know they're known on the harness side, but they do have a good wealth of thoroughbred experience. We are banking the turns at about 6%, which is a good banking for proper drainage and safety of the horses. The stretches are going to be the width of the track is going to be about 80 feet. Which will allow us to accommodate up to 14 horses if we so choose. The stretch banking is about 3% on that. It'll probably be heavily based towards a sand-based track because of the winter racing. Much more, the current track at Beulah, as everyone knows, was not made to be a wintertime track, and we
Correct.
struggle with it because of its clay base. This will be a limestone base.
We have the breakdowns here, yes. Okay. Excellent.
Great, so that's the overall site plan. Moving to the building, this is the trackside elevation, of course, with the racing area. Again, this is our original plan. This was the contemplated grandstand clubhouse racing area. As we get into this, you're going to see a lower area here that in these plans that you have in front of you and that I've laid on the end of the table, we are proposing that based on market conditions, we will enclose and provide racing seating to get to some of the seat counts that have been discussed with the commission. So what I want to do is go through the balance of the pages of the document that you have in front of you. We've already discussed page 1, which is the site plan. Page 2, I don't think we have to spend a whole lot of time on. This is the actual proposed layout for the gaming floor, and you'll see behind it a page that will call out the racing components. The gaming floor is sized to accommodate 1,500 slot machines.
We plan to start with 1,000?
1,000, that's correct. So moving to the third page, when we get into the racing section, which is of most interest to this commission, our original design for this concept was to use all table seating and to give the table seating, have the table seating oriented so that A preponderance of it provided views of the racetrack. We understand your desire to have higher seat counts, and I hope you understand our constraint to work within the envelope of the building that we've already begun the permitting and construction process. So what we've proposed to do, instead of the seating area that you see along the racetrack side here in the clubhouse level, we're on page 3. The seating level, we had originally had this as 2 levels with tables, and we've sloped it to become 4 levels with seating layouts. You'll see in the back of your packet at page number 8, at page 8, this is what the seating at that level would look like.
That's upstairs.
That's upstairs, we're,
Page 3 is downstairs.
oh, I'm so sorry, yeah, that's,